Hey, welcome back to that God Power channel. This is the channel where we're going to unlock the God Power laying dormant on the inside of you. But first, we're going to keep on going with the book of Genesis. Now, we're getting into this thing. We are on chapter 19. Last time we were on chapter 18, and that's where Abraham he got visited by three visitors, one of them being the Lord himself. And Abraham was like, hey, if you could find at least, they went from 50 all the way down to 10 righteous people in the land of Sodom and Gomorrah, then the Lord said he wouldn't destroy it. So if the Lord can find 10 righteous people, that's where we're at. So the two angels that was with the Lord already went to Sodom and Gomorrah, and now the Lord is making his way. So chapter 19 begins right at the end of that story. So that evening, the two angels came to the entrance of the city of Sodom. Lot was sitting there when he saw them. He stood up to meet them. Then he welcomed them and bowed his face to the ground. My lords, he said, come to my home, wash your feet, and be my guest for the night. You may get up early in the morning and be on your way again. Oh no, they replied, we'll just spend the night out here in the city square. But Lot insisted. So at last they went home with him. Lot prepared a feast for them, complete with fresh bread made without yeast, and they ate. Now, wait, 1 second. Lot was in the city square, like at the beginning, like the entrance to the city. I just learned that this is a place where important people are. So you have to be like an elected official or like a government person to be chilling at this part of the city. And I think Lot had some kind of important role in the city. That's why he was there. And that's why the angels, which they were just called the men, they met Lot there. And Lot recognized them like, whoa, y'all are something. But before they retired for the night, listen to this. This is where it gets crazy, y'all. So remember, the angels came in the house and they had a feast because Lot was like, hey, no, I insist that you stay here tonight with me. And the angels like, nah, we'll stay outside. They're like, no, you're staying here. And this is why. Watch this. So but before they retired for the night, all the men of Sodom, young and old, came from all over the city and surrounded the house. They shouted to Lot, where are the men who came to spend the night with you? Bring them out so we can have sex with them. Pause? Really not. That's just what they were on, though. That's why Sodom and Gomorrah was evil, bro. Like, they're talking about strangers. And in this case, they're angels. And they're like, we need to... not even going there, but good Lord, that is nasty. So Lot stepped outside to talk to them, shutting the door behind him. He's like, oh God, please, my brothers, please don't do such a wicked thing. Look, I have two virgin daughters. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do with them as you wish. But please leave these two men alone, for they are my guests and under my protection. Now, why did Lot just offer his daughters to protect these men? Well, obviously, we know as the readers that these are angels, but obviously we know as the readers that these are angels. But does everybody else know? I don't know. I'm sure Lot does. But anyways, I think that he gave up his two daughters, or he offered them because maybe Lot had something like maybe he was banking on those guys being like so gay that they wouldn't even want the daughters, right? And then they would just leave everybody alone, right? He's like, oh, I don't want it. Girls. Gross. I wanted the men. The group of men said, stand back. This fellow came to the town as an outsider, and now he's acting like our judge? We'll treat you far worse than those other men. And they just said they're going to treat Lot way worse than the other men. And what they just asked to do to the other men was pretty bad. So I can't imagine what they would be doing to Lot. I don't want to imagine it, to be honest. I really just don't. Then they lunged towards Lot to break down the door, but the two angels reached out, pulled Lot into the house, and bolted the door. Then they blinded all the young men and the old men who were at the door of the house, so they gave up trying to get inside. The angels came through on at that time. Like, that was like a high intensity moment. Lot was about to get messed up, bro. But the angels was like, nah. And they made everything right. Meanwhile, the angels questioned Lot. Do you have any other relatives here in the city? They asked. Get them out of this place, your sons, sons-in-laws, daughters, or anyone else, for we are about to destroy this city completely. The outcry against this place is so great it has reached the Lord, and he has sent us to destroy it. So Lot rushed to tell all his daughter's fiancés. So he had some sons-in-laws, or to-be sons-in-laws. He was like, quick, get out the city. The Lord is about to destroy it. But the young men thought he was only joking. Maybe if he said it like that, that's probably why they thought he was joking. But he probably said it a little bit more serious. I wonder how Lot talked anyways. And why would they think he was joking? Was he a jokester? Was that just the society? Was that the culture to just be joking around about some serious stuff like that? I don't know why they thought he was joking. But anyways, at dawn the next morning, the angels became insistent. Hurry, they said to Lot, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here and get out right now, or you'll be swept away in the destruction of the city. And when Lot still hesitated, the angel seized his hand and the hands of his wife and the 2 daughters and rushed them to safety outside the city, for the Lord was merciful. Why was Lot hesitating, yo? I think it's because he's like, for one, remember, Lot's not poor. Lot's pretty rich. So let's remember that, like, he's got money. He's probably got businesses and stuff going on in the city where he's like taking his time to leave. Maybe he's thinking about it twice. Like, man, I like this coat. I don't want to leave this coat behind. And then the angel's like, man, hurry up, bro. But they got him out the city. And when they were safely outside the city, one of the angels ordered, run for your lives and don't look back or stop anywhere in the valley. Escape to the mountains or you will be swept away. And then Lot was like, oh no, my Lord, you've been so gracious to me and saved my life, for you've shown such great kindness, but I cannot go to the mountains. Disaster would catch up to me there, and I would soon die. See, there's a small village nearby. Please let me go there instead. Don't you see how small it is? Then my life will be saved. Now, Lot has zero faith in God's word. If God said go to the mountains, he was going to be safe, dog. But Lot was like, no, I'm not going to be safe. I did some stuff, and it's going to catch up to me in the mountains. I swear it is. So can I go to that village? And God, the angel was like, all right, go ahead. So the angel was like, all right, I'll grant your request. I'll not destroy that little village, but hurry, escape to it, for I can do nothing until you arrive there. This explains why the name of the village is known as Zoar, which means the little place. Lot reached the little village just as the sun was rising over the horizon. So this is early morning, y'all. This started at dawn in the morning. So this is the crack of dawn, right when it's dark outside still. And now the sun's starting to peak up, and this is when they just made it to that city. And then the Lord rained down fire and burning sulfur from the sky onto Sodom and Gomorrah. He utterly destroyed them along with other cities and villages in the plain, wiping out all the people and every bit of vegetation. Like, okay, let's think about this. What would this look like in our day and age? Okay, what was that coming from the sky? Fire and burning sulfur. Oh, this is like a meteor shower, but that are impacting meteors that are hitting the earth pretty much. That's probably what it looked like. And so this probably looks crazy, sounds crazy. The smell is probably intense because of sulfur. But Lot's wife looked back as she was following behind him, and she turned into a pillar of salt. Remember, the angel said, do not look back. So Lot and his daughters, they did not look back, but the wife, somehow her attachments was in the city somehow, and she happened to look back, and she suffered the consequences. Abraham got up early that morning and hurried out to the place where he had stood in the Lord's presence. He looked out across the plain towards Sodom and Gomorrah and watched as columns of smoke rose from the cities like from a furnace. So this is like he's seeing the aftermath, and he's like, yo, God really did destroy that junk. But God had listened to Abraham's request and kept Lot safe, removing him from the disaster that engulfed the cities of the plain. Afterwards, Lot left Zoar because he was afraid of the people there, and he went to live in a cave in the mountains. What? Bro, didn't the angel initially tell you to go live in the mountains? And then you're like, nah, someone's gonna catch up with me there. Then you went to the little village, and now Something caught up with you there, or at least you're scared of something catching up. You're scared, and now you go to the mountains. What sense does this man does not make no sense at all, bro? But he went to go live in a cave in the mountains with his two daughters who are still single. One day, the older daughter, this is why I said that. One day, the older daughter said to the younger sister, there are no men left anywhere in this entire area, so we can't get married like everyone else. And our father will soon soon be too old to have children. Come, let's get him drunk with wine, and then we'll have sex with him. That way, we will preserve our family line through our father. Now, these little girls, remember, they were raised in Sodom and Gomorrah, and this place just got wiped off the map because of how evil it was. This is why they're thinking like that. It's like they were raised in that system. They don't know anything else. So that's why their first thought was like incest. Yeah, shoot, we got to preserve this line. That's not the right way to go. And Lot should have been more on top of things, right? To make sure that in that city that he provided husbands for them. But he was scared of something. It didn't say what he was scared of. But anyways, that night, they got him drunk with wine, and the older daughter went in and had intercourse with her father. He was unaware of her lying down and her getting up again. The next morning, the older daughter said to the younger daughter, I had sex with our father last night. Let's get him drunk with wine again tonight, and you can go have sex with him. That way, we can preserve our family line through our father. So that night, they got him drunk with wine again, and the younger daughter went in and had intercourse with him. As before, he was unaware of her lying down or her getting up. This man must have been stupid drunk for that to happen 2 nights in a row. And then, there's no hangover or nothing for you to be like, yo. And you can't remember not a bit of it. That's what kind of alcohol are you drinking, fam? As a result, both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their own father. When the older daughter gave birth to a son, she named him Moab. He became the ancestor of the nation now known as the Moabites. When the younger daughter gave birth to a son, she named him Ben-Ami, and he became the ancestor of the nation known as the Ammonites. And that's the end of chapter 19. And a lot went on in chapter 19. We saw the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. We saw Lot get moved to another city. And we saw how little faith Lot has. We saw Abraham's resolve with God's conversation with him, where Abraham was like, wow, I guess there was no righteous people in this mug because that whole thing is destroyed. And then we saw the incest that happened in Lot's family. Now, just because this incest is incest, it doesn't mean that God's about to destroy Lot, right? God could still use that for his own glory. So we'll see how that plays out. There are 2 new additions into this family now. Now we've got Abraham still alive. We got Sarah still alive. Lot, 2 daughters. He has now a son named Moab and a son named Ben-Ami. And those are Lot's sons. So they will look up to their great uncle Abraham. Who else is in here? We got Ishmael, which is Hagar's son, which is Abraham's son. And now Isaac is about to get born, probably in the next chapter or something like that. But we'll keep it rolling. That is the end of chapter 19. Hopefully you learned something. And I'm not going to keep you here any longer. Go do something nice. Go be nice. Go have a good day. Enjoy the sunshine, the birds tweeting at you. But most importantly, remember that you got that God power. On your heart, tugging on your... Get them.